What's up, gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. In this video, we are going to get into a major topic, and that is how to deal with beggars when you go to some of these countries overseas, in particular countries that have massive wealth gaps. And personally, I'm going to share my experience on how I view this and how I deal with this. But before we get into it, smash the like button, costs you nothing. It means the world to me. It really helps me out with the algorithm, and I would truly appreciate it. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and get into this topic, because when you're traveling overseas, and frankly, for me, it can be kind of sad and depressing seeing people's situations. But obviously, after doing this for around a decade now, I have come to some realizations, and so I'm going to share with you my thoughts on this topic. And so the first thing I want to mention is whenever someone hands you something, in general, do not accept it. I don't care what it is. In fact, let me tell you a quick story. So I was in Rome, Italy, and I was walking around the tourist area. I don't remember if it was the Spanish Steps or if it was around the Colosseum. Doesn't particularly matter. It's a nice, beautiful day, and I'm walking around with Andrea, and we're minding our own business, and some guy from somewhere in Africa starts telling us his life story, and he's trying to give me this bracelet. And he's like, oh, just try it on, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I'm not interested. And I just keep walking. Like I said, after a decade of travel, I'm kind of desensitized to this stuff. And I'm like, I'm really not interested, whatever. And I don't even think I had money on me. And so I'm just walking away. And then I don't remember exactly what happened, but I do remember he ended up just like throwing this bracelet at me. And I'm pretty sure he probably assumed I was going to catch it. And I was like, dude, I didn't ask you to throw it at me. And so he just threw it at me, and I just let it fall to the ground. And I was like, I don't know what you want me to do. You're the one who decided to just throw some random object at me. And here's the thing. They're known for, as soon as you take a flower or try on the bracelet, being like, okay, that's €3 or what may have you. And so obviously that's a little bit different than a beggar. But I wanted to give you that tip to start this video because some beggars kind of do the same thing, where they'll like open a door for you, or they'll put something on your table, or what may have you. And so here is how I generally deal with beggars. In general, I just say, no thanks, no, I don't have money, or something to that effect. Now, when I first started my travels, if someone looked completely desperate and destitute, I would probably give them a little bit of money. But as I've gotten used to how the game is played, where people will use their children, they will pull other emotional strings to try and take advantage of the situation, frankly, just doesn't work anymore. And so in general, what I will do is I'll give money to the people who are doing something in return for that money. So if someone's just sitting there with their hand out and with their kid, I'm not going to give them any money. But if they are opening a door or something, it doesn't have to be anything grand. But if they're at least putting some effort into earning an income, then that is, in general, who I will choose to support. Maybe they are selling bracelets or roses or some little trinket or handcraft or paper mache. It doesn't matter. Those are the people I will support over the person who just has the hand out doing this kind of thing, hoping for people to give them money. Especially if the person who's just like sitting there begging for money is completely able-bodied. Now, I'm not going to get into like the mental health aspect kind of thing, and you can't judge a book by its cover, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But I've seen people who are cracked out and doing all sorts of kind of stuff who are at least trying to open doors for people, or even like carry bags for people. I don't care what it is, as long as you are trying to provide some sort of value. And the major reason I switched to this belief and this system, if you will, is because a lot of these people are just gaming the system. I will see entire families with like newborn babies just sitting at the street all day begging for money, and they have plenty of money. Like, for example, I saw some kid go into OXXO and he pulled out a wad of cash. And I'm not talking like a little amount of money, I'm talking a huge wad of cash. And this kid objectively didn't have the greatest hygiene standards, and I knew he was one of the begging kids because I see him at the street signs begging at cars with the rest of his family. Whereas there are people who make these handicrafts, who make these trinkets, that aren't making nearly the same amount of money as this kid and his family who just sit there begging all day and pulling on people's emotional heartstrings. And so in general, that is how I deal with beggars when it comes to traveling overseas. I'll choose to give my money to the people who are doing something in return for that money, selling trinkets, handicrafts, so on and so forth, instead of just giving money to the person who just is asking for money with their little sob story or taking advantage of their kids or what may have you. So that's going to wrap up this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, peace, much love.